All right. We are back with episode 10 of the NBeezzy Podcast. And this is a off-the-cuff, quick hit in the household of the Burkes with my wife, Kristy. Hi, Kristy.
Hi.
So I just told Kristy that we're going to do a podcast like literally 15 minutes ago, and she wasn't happy about it, but she agreed. So we're just going to like sit and chat about stuff. And see how it goes. I like to create, so I want to put some content out. I'm putting these little podcasts towards my 52 for the year, so I don't know if I'm going to reach my goal, but hopefully we'll see. Anyway, hi, Kristy. How are you?
Hi, good. I'm great. How are you?
Doing well. So I'm pretty sure that all 12 people who listen to the stuff that I put out know of you, but I don't think they know you very well. Because they meet you. Most of them have met you, but they don't meet you. I don't get to know the inner workings of Kristy with such a that I know.
Right. Well, you're the lucky one.
I am the lucky one.
Yeah.
So give me a little bit about your background. Like where'd you grow up? Where are you from?
Okay. Well, I was born in California, and
Where in California?
I was born in Upland, which is near Los Angeles.
Okay.
And I lived there until I was 9, and then moved to Washington with my mom and dad. To Maltby. And then went to Monroe School, and then went to Wazoo for college, and then came back to Seattle, lived in Seattle. Then I moved to Burbank, California for work for a few years.
What's work again for you?
HR.
Okay.
And then moved back to Seattle. Got a job at Microsoft and moved back to Seattle. And worked at Microsoft for like 9-ish years. And then went to Amazon. And then now I'm at Slalom.
Awesome. Cool. And
this is really boring.
It's not boring. We need to know who you are. Come on. This is
Okay.
So tell me about your loves.
What I love?
What do you love?
Besides you?
I think it's Andre, then it's me, but
I love Nick Burke, number one, but I'm a very avid pug lover,
which is,
as you know.
You might not be able to hear Andre, but he's like just making
snoring.
noises underneath our table.
Pugs are the best. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty boring. I like pugs. I mean, I like you. I like pugs. I like listening to podcasts.
What kind of podcast do you listen to?
True crime.
When did you get into true crime?
I used to watch. There was like when I was in middle school and high school. Those days there were like Sunday night and Monday night movies. They were kind of like Lifetime movies, but they were on the regular network, and me and my mom would watch them, and they were usually like, like some sort of drama about, usually it was like a woman. I remember one of the first ones I saw was The Burning Bed, which was about this abused woman who ended up murdering her abusive husband, and it was like on TV. It like left a huge impression on my brain. So
how old were you
when I watched The Burning Bed? I don't know, 10 or 12. I don't know. I was young. Yeah.
Will you let your child watch things at 10 years old like that?
Well, I don't think they have stuff like that on regular TV anymore. I don't know. Well, like the worst. I know. I mean, yeah, it was. I don't know. I probably, if I watched it, but now it would be very tame. I mean, it was pretty dramatic. It had like a lot of abuse in that. But it was. I watched it with my mom.
So that's what got you hooked on true crime?
I think so.
So ever since then, 10 years old, you were like, ooh, I want to know more about people dying.
Well, and I also, I'm very interested in how the mind works. Yeah. And
that's true.
I was a psych major.
Yes.
And so I find it very interesting what people do and why they do it, and why. And then I also find it interesting what people believe and why they believe it. So I also really love like cults and religion and things, learning about that. So I love to listen to stuff like that. and I like sciencey things. So those are the kind of podcasts I listen to.
Cool. That's what's the face for?
Because this is really boring. I want to give you an exciting show.
Well, think about this. Let's pause because I don't want you to feel like this is boring.
Okay.
I want you to know that this doesn't exist anywhere.
Okay. But
so
you can delete this.
I'm not deleting anything. I'm saying at some point, our child. So let's pause for a second. We're having a child in January, late January, and at some point later in life, our child wants to know what mommy was like.
Mommy's gonna talk about herself a lot.
I know she will, but what if mommy wants to, grandmommy wants to tell grandchild what it was like when she was 39?
Okay.
I'm just saying, like it's a historical. We're just putting a push pin in this moment,
All right.
and we're just gonna tell.
Have you told the people
Yeah.
all about your past and where you're from?
Actually, it's funny. No, I haven't.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want me to?
It's hard to do. Yeah.
I'll do it.
Go.
Okay. So here's the interviewer. Here's the interviewer baton. There you go, Kristy. Hi.
Hi.
I'm
Nick,
on
how are you?
I'm on the Mama
Welcome.
K,
Thank you for being
the Mama K podcast.
Thank you for joining me today,
Okay,
Nick.
go ahead.
It's great to see you.
Hi. How are you?
Hi. So, Nick, tell me about yourself. Where are you from?
Where am I from? I'm
Yeah.
originally from Norwalk, Connecticut. I was born and raised in Norwalk, Connecticut.
Tell me about your life.
My life. Okay. So when I was out of the womb, I came out with a cigarette hanging in my mouth and said, "Mama, I'm here." No, I'm just kidding. I grew up in Norwalk. So my mom is a telephone operator for like 40 years. My dad is a carpenter. His dad was a cabinet maker. So mom is a like fiery Aries. My dad's like a more calm, tame Leo. They balance each other out really well. My dad, he's just a really good dude all around. He's like a really solid, simple, chill kind of guy. I get my calmness from him, but I get my fiery like craziness from my mom, and that doesn't come out too much, I don't think, but sometimes it does. But they grew up, they're working class people, so they saved a lot of money, and they eventually bought a house when I was 12. And when I was younger, we rented an apartment on the third floor from my uncle who owned a house, owned like an apartment complex. And we stayed there for a while. And I remember things changed after we moved. Like, we just didn't have as much money to like do stuff, and we didn't go on awesome vacations anymore. But we went. But there's a lot of memories I have from that old house on Orchard Street. It's like right next to the train tracks. So like if you go to the other side of the train tracks, things got a lot nicer. We weren't in a bad neighborhood, but it was not as nice as where we moved to eventually. I remember my dad letting go of my bike for the first time, and riding down the driveway. I remember picking flowers that my mom would plant in the driveway and then bringing up to her and being like, "Hey, mommy, here."
Aww,
and
so
she was
sweet.
like mad, but
because you picked her flowers.
Yeah, and then, but at the same time, she was like, "Oh, it's so
That's
sweet,"
really sweet.
but my mom loved to be in the garden. So my mom grew up as one of 11. So she grew up on like a farm, and she picked tobacco. She picked stuff. She worked on a plant. Like she knew what hard work was like, and I remember her missing 3 days of work a year maybe from my whole like actually taking time, unless she got hurt, like she was in the hospital or something. She would go to work every day. So like I get a little bit of my work ethic from like the fact that I go to work. I don't think I work anywhere near as hard as my parents. I'm kind of lazy. I was in the church choir. My mom is very religious, Baptist. I was in the church choir growing up. There's not many people know. So a lot of my morals, right and wrong, I think I learned from the church, like, being raised in with a bunch of people helping raise me as a child. A couple key figures growing up, Miss Eaton, which is my choir director, who also tried to teach me how to play piano, but I quit. I didn't like it. And then middle school, like I walked to elementary school every day, which was very close to the place where we moved. After I was, when I was young, And my middle school was a walkable distance from where I lived too. So I used to walk and hang out with kids in the neighborhood on a cul-de-sac. We should move to a cul-de-sac.
I like cul-de-sac.
It's safe. I just like to feel like I felt really safe when I was growing up. Anyway, I had a go-kart when I was young too, when I was like 12, 13, 14. I remember my friend Pat flipping it over on top of himself. It was a crazy moment. We had a helmet on though. Anyway, let's see. So the kind of where things in me shape up as far as a person is when I started to swim. I started to swim when I was around 12, 13, 14. And I was African American in a predominantly white dominated sport, and I was killing it. I hit puberty before everybody, so I was bigger than everybody. So in my age group, I would win everything. For the first, for a couple, 3 or 4 years, I was just killing it. And then eventually everybody got as big as me and grew and kind of, I was caught up, but I was still at the top, but not as at the top. But in those years where I was dominating things, I had a leadership role within my peers on the team, which also gave me a ton of confidence in that sphere, which led later to me having confidence. Not all the time, but able to be having confidence. You know what I mean? So I think that was a really big, crucial moment in my childhood because I knew what confidence was. So.
Do you think that you're going to be encouraging your child to play sports?
No, I'm not going to encourage. Yeah, I guess. This seems like a very just because everybody else is doing it kind of thing. I don't really. No, I want him to do whatever he wants to do.
Do what he wants to do. I think
if his friends are playing sports, yeah, sure. If he wants to play football, we're gonna have a talk about it. If he wants to play golf, yeah, sure, man.
What if he wants to do ballet?
Sure.
Good.
Whatever.
I think it's whatever he wants.
Fine. Whatever he wants to do.
For football, yeah, we'll have to talk about that
I'm not saying I'm not gonna not let him do it, but he's gonna watch. I'm gonna show him the result, not result. The consequences of his actions.
There's just so much more data now about
what's happening to your brain.
Yeah.
It's you could be an MMA fighter if you want, but that's stupid. But it's okay. You can do it.
Mama's not
gonna like it,
that,
but we're gonna. I'll give you my okay. She might not give you her okay, but I'm gonna give you mine. I'm gonna say you're really dumb, but go ahead. So, yeah. I think sports or it's not really sports. I think that age from 12 to 15, when you're trying to find yourself, if you have a push or you have something supporting you.
Yeah, that's a hard age.
It's hard age, but I think I got a specific just coddling or a support at that moment to not let me severe or move off of a path of just being okay.
Did you try other sports or was it?
I wasn't allowed only because I was so good at swimming. They were I was kind of slated for. I was slated to go to the Olympics, so they wouldn't let me snowboard. I wasn't allowed to do anything.
Wouldn't let your parents?
The coach, parent, the coach was you can't do that. No, because if you hurt yourself, then your career's over. And it was Anyway, so okay, after that, I get recruited to swim, break records, own a couple state records and high school records and yada yada yada. Get recruited to college. Didn't fit well with the coach at UConn. So getting to college was awful because I fought with my mother every day about where I wanted to go. I wanted to go far away. They wanted me to stay close. The scholarship was decent at UConn and yada yada yada. I eventually didn't want to fight with my mom anymore because every single day we'd have a conversation about going to what college I was going to go to.
She wanted you to stay close.
She wanted me to stay close. And she didn't know till a couple of years ago that I hated her during that whole process. And we reconciled eventually, but I hated the fact that I couldn't even speak to her until I decided on which college I was going to go to. And I decided to go to UConn just because I didn't want to not speak to my mother anymore. I swam there for 2 years. Ended up doing extremely poorly academically, and eventually losing my scholarship. Then eventually became a professional beer pong player. I missed a scholarship on that but I paid, stayed for an extra semester because I was fucking around too much, and eventually graduated.
What'd you major in?
I majored in sociology with a minor in women's studies.
What?
Yeah.
You did not tell me this.
I know how sensitive I am, sensitive about your needs.
Why
girl.
did you minor in it?
Because I took 3. No, because they're all no. I took 3 classes, and I just realized that
you were close enough.
I was close enough to be like, oh.
But how you took 3 classes by choice?
It was just like but I'm
impressed.
I'm a huge observer.
Yeah.
And I love to look at people. I love to watch people. I love to it also translates to my bartending and how I am a huge read of people. So I don't communicate with people a lot when I bartend. I like to just point and nods and looks and then I listen to what people say behind my back when they're not paying attention to me. And I get a read on the person, who they are, what they're there for, and everybody comes to the bar for different reasons.
Yeah.
It's just fun to just learn about stuff like that.
Would you, I have a question on women's study. Would you consider yourself a feminist?
Define feminist.
Someone that's interested in the equal rights of males and females, and that you believe that.
So to take that back, okay. So yes, by your technical definition, yeah.
I don't know if that's the technical definition.
I don't know, but I agree that men and women are equal. But as far as fighting for but socially, I think the word feminist holds a heavy connotation of just
angry.
Yeah, and I don't like that. So
because I definitely think I'm more fiery on causes and things, and you tend to be more laid back.
I'm more laid back because I see both sides. I'm like, and you, I don't see that side. I see my side, and I see.
I see the other side. Jerk. I just think it's wrong. So, but no, you are very calming, and things that I know. I mean, just in observing the world, the things that get me really angry. You might think that they're wrong, like I do, but you don't seem to get angry like I get. I think passionately angry.
It's just a waste, man. I think that
can't help it.
So I think it's the emotions, letting my emotions. Okay. So let me keep going on my story.
Okay.
Where the hell was it? After college, I'm gonna jump. So I'm pausing at college. And I'm gonna jump to doing 3 years of yoga because that is pertinent to the story I was about to tell. I did 3 years of yoga. 3 years of yoga every single day, and during those 3 years of yoga, I learned a lot about myself. It was another transformative moment in who I am. So I didn't just do yoga, I studied yoga. I wanted to know more and more and more about what it is, how it is, what is it doing to my brain. And I was experiencing all these things and I wanted to know. So I just realized that emotions and anything can happen in life, and it's how you react to it. So you could lose your arm or you could lose a loved one. It's is it going to make you very upset? Or is it going to make you reflective? Are you going to learn from it? You could, any kind of situation can be a learning experience if you take the time to step back and look at it that way. But most of the time when traumatic things happen, people they snap to.
And it takes a while to get to that point.
Totally.
I think it's until you've been through something really, truly traumatic.
Yes.
It's nothing pisses me off more than the judgment from people that are you need to tell in how you take it, and God doesn't give you more than you can handle. Be careful when you say that to people, because when they're I'm saying in general, when you're in the midst of going through hell and some sort of trauma, nobody wants to hear that. So shitty to hear. Yeah. It's you have no idea.
Yeah, what I'm going through right now. And I agree.
Yeah. But after a while, I think that you have to get to that point where you're ready.
And and most people don't get to this level of calm. That I came really, really at peace with just everything in life. At that moment, I didn't want to have kids. I was okay being alone for the rest of my life. I was very internal, because every day doing yoga for me was just bushwhacking through the weeds in my head, and I was just hashing out things, and I'd find something and I'd be like, oh wow, this is from way back when I treated that girl like this, and I actually went back and apologized to a lot of girls I treated poorly in college, and it was very karma cleansing internally for me, that whole process. That was cool. So anyway, that's a lot about me. So after college, I worked, after college, I worked, I was working as a pool director for a while during college in my summers. And after college, I got what did I do? I was duped by this guy that I used to work for in college at his package store, and he told me that we're gonna start a bar together and do a little stuff, and like he was just blowing smoke on my ass, and I actually like legitimately didn't make plans for post college because I thought I was actually gonna do something with this guy. Ended up not working, like finished out my little half semester, and then going back home, not knowing what I was gonna do. I started to work at CVS, which is like right down the street from my house, and my country club manager got word of it because somebody saw me in there, and then he came in and was like, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna get you a job," and he got me a job at a really nice country club called the Tuxedo Club in New Jersey, which was like an hour away. Gated community, like Lambos, and like just, it was dope. It was cool. I was around some really interesting people.
What did you do there?
I was their pool director,
Okay.
just managing. But it was enough money where I could have, if I wanted to live that life, I could have managed during the summer. I made a boat ton of money, and then just like substitute teach during the like rest of the year, or done some other odd job, and been doing.
You would have probably met a sugar mama at the Tuxedo Club.
Yeah, I could have been a swim coach. I could have done a lot of things. I just didn't. It just wasn't something that I really liked. But I had coming out of college when I had that half semester, I was working on a business plan. I won this business plan competition for Connecticut colleges, and I thought, I got I won $10,000. It was actually against a lot of elite. Like I lost to this one group from Yale. I was one dude writing a misspelled business plan, submitting it and winning it and it all came down for me presenting well. I truly believed in what I was doing and my idea, and then so I got second place and won 10 G's and wasted it all on a computer and lawyer fees.
Lawyer fees.
Patent lawyers are expensive, man. I didn't know this, and I was working. And after that,
why'd you need a patent lawyer?
So the idea was it was like what was it called? Eagle Eye Integration was the name of the company, and it was
Did you come up with the name?
Yeah, I did. Okay. Anyway, and it was an idea for you to have like a device. This is in 2000. I don't even know what this is. 2000 something, maybe 1990. I don't know. It was a while ago, but you had a device in your hand, sort of like a PDA, that would tell you the wait times of all the rides around you, where the other people were in your group, because they would have like wristbands on, and a couple other services. Like you'd be able to give people money that were on your within your
for
group.
Families or for
like families
groups?
Or people, like for groups, or like just a family. So you brought your son and your son's friend. Everybody has a wristband. You have $200 to spend. You could divvy up that money, see where they bought stuff, where they are right now, and the wait times. It was pretty cool idea at the time. Right now, they actually still don't probably have something exactly like that, but I was revolutionary with and I sold it well, because I can speak decently well when I'm really passionate about something and I'm selling. Okay, so after that, I was working then I started working at a law firm in New York City. I worked at Abercrombie and Fitch for a little while as a manager. I got hit on by gay guys. I had a bald head, and it was crazy. I had to wear the little sandals. I hated sandals too. And then I got a job in New York City working at a law firm, and I thought I wanted to be a lawyer because I was really good at arguing.
I thought I was going to be a lawyer.
I was good at arguing with people.
Me too.
Take you to task on whatever. Anyway, but I figured out that tort asbestos law was not my thing, and I realized that working in a law firm is just, you're just stealing people's money. I wasn't working 6 hours a day doing these things. I was billing you for that, but I'm checking the internet. And when I was checking the internet, I actually came across this 9/11 video about the plane hitting the Pentagon. It wasn't the right size, and that sent me on a 3-year sinkhole of trying to figure out what was going on 9/11. And that sparked my interest into my like conspiracy theory, like alien path. That was like a hard deviation off the highway. I'm like, oh, we're normal. And it's like, wait a second, let's take this exit to a new route of alternative ideas. And ever since so I figured out I didn't figure out anything, but I got done with the 9/11 thing. But all the little things along the 9/11, like once you get to the yes, this may have happened, it's why. And I still haven't answered the why, but I've got there's lots of theories of why and how and who and what, and off of those offshoots there's even more weird things. So that was a lot of the time just digging down those little deep cavernous holes and just thinking people are weird out there. So anyway, then I don't know how I got a job. Oh yeah, so then after I stopped working at the law firm, I started to temp at various places around Connecticut, and then I temped at this NBev USA, and NBev USA was Stella Artois, Boddington's, Beck's, Hoegaarden. Like it was the offshoot, the U.S. arm of Stella Artois, and like basically Stella Artois and Bass. And I worked well there with some salespeople, and then they brought me on as full time. That was my first like real paycheck, real job. And I didn't want to be in the office because I thought I had, the schmooze. I was talking to salespeople on the phone, like doing territorial contract work. No, I wasn't inside sales. I was like, I worked for the sales team in like a clerical situation. So like when you bring on a new brand and there's a distributor network out there, and you need to say this new brand is going to go to the Coors dealer in this area and the Bud guy in this area. You need to map out what territory they have to distribute that brand, and it has to be on paper and like contracts. So we were opening this new brand called Brahma, and I was helping out with all that. I was learning things about the beer industry and whatnot by talking to my director guy, and I was also on the phone with some of the salespeople out there, and I'm like, I would just have candid conversations with them about what they do and blah blah blah. And I'm like, Matt, I'm gonna try that. Like, how do I get out there? This sucks in here. And he's like, talking to people, working things out, and eventually I got sent out to a territory in Connecticut to Worcester, all the way up to Worcester, Mass. And covering that brand, and it's like a huge territory, but I got my foot in sales. That was that, and eventually InBev got bought by Anheuser-Busch, and in that maneuver, I was talked up to their brass about like, oh, Nick's a good guy. I'm sitting outside their office, so the people who are sitting at the table saying who should get promoted or fired or moved, they're my friends. So and I realized that's how things work especially the boys club of business. I got promoted to manage. I'm now managing 5 people in Boston with Budweiser, and it was fun. Again, it was fun. The 6 years I spent with Budweiser were awesome. It was a great job. I met Dale Earnhardt. I found myself at places where I don't belong, like just all sorts of football games and sporting events, and next to people that I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. But I felt like I was selling my soul every day. It just didn't feel like good. And I was getting promoted, moved around, and I kind of stopped doing my job. It's like 80-20 rule. I was doing 20% to get 80% of the results, and it showed.
I don't think that's the 80-20 rule.
Whatever. I wasn't doing a lot of work.
Okay.
And so I got let go, and then I had a startup I was working on with a friend at the time, and I said I was going to just do that, collect unemployment. Did that. For a while, the startup didn't work out, and I eventually asked Buckley's to get a job. I had never served or never done any of that before, but I needed to work because my unemployment was running out. So just worked really hard at being a good server, and eventually said I wanted to be a bartender. They thought I was going to leave, but I was like, no, I'm here. And I got a bartending shift, and so has it. And bartending shifts, it was really hard for a while. I was just serving, and then after the unemployment ran out, I eventually got the bartending shifts, and that worked out. And I eventually was making kind of the same money, and then this guy came in who was managing an Airbnb in the building that I owned my spot, and he was telling me the number that he had to file some taxes or something. I'm like, what do they make for the year? And he told me the number, and then I started doing some math, and I'm like, I'm moving out, because if I can make that, I'll just live around the corner, and then I can add $20,000-$30,000 to my, gross a year. That'd be awesome. And that's when things changed. I was like, oh, okay, now I get to really live better than I was before. The only thing I didn't have was healthcare.
Yeah.
I didn't really care about healthcare.
It's important.
But now I have healthcare. Anyway, yeah. So that kind of brings you current to where I am now. And I love how we've switched this podcast from.
I know. I did it totally on purpose.
I know you did, but now I'm taking the interview mic back.
Damn it.
I have. No.
But I want to just note like my brilliance in that.
I saw it.
Turnaround.
I could have totally.
Like, you love talking.
I could have totally
perfect.
stopped talking. I'm like, no.
You're
I
not
could
gonna stop
I could have
talking.
ended it in whatever. Anyway. So now that we're back on the NBeezzy Podcast, Mama K, tell us about Bronx. Oh, let's talk about names. No, we're not gonna tell names.
Okay.
Except that his nickname is definitely Bronx.
His nickname is Bronx. There's no like real reason to it.
Well,
We were looking at names.
We were in the car. I remember that we were in Norwalk and we were in the car, and I'm like, because I'll tell you how I came up with the name.
Okay.
One of my good friends, Mike DePalma, who we hung out with that day, and his two kids. His two kids are named Jameson and Brooklyn. I think they're great names, and they're great kids. And I said, I'm like, well, I don't like Brooklyn's a really cool name. I like Brooklyn. I'm like Bronx. I've never heard of a person named Bronx. And I don't really want to name my kid Bronx, but I'm like, what if I like? And then I yelled the name. I was like, Bronx.
You love yelling it.
And I'm like, that's it. His nickname is gonna be Bronx. I thought it was a girl at the time. I'm like, I don't give a fuck if it's a girl or not. Her nickname, its nickname is Bronx. I just like the name of it, Bronx Burke, or it's like this is a good nickname. So I coined that as a nickname, and then we still are deciding on names. We don't have a name. I keep joking with her, saying that we should call him Thelonious. And his middle name is Ray. So if his name was Thelonious Ray Burke, that would be like the best. You could be a ballet person. You could be jazz. You could
Thelonious, you
be
can do
gay.
anything you want.
You could be straight. You could be straight and cool. You could be flamboyantly gay.
Yeah, you can do anything with the name Thelonious.
Yeah, you could run as a senator.
Yeah, you
This
get
is
respect.
Thelonious Burke.
Sounds.
Now coming to the stage, the esteemed professor of cell biotics and all other cool shit, Mr. Thelonious Burke. That sounds awesome.
It does.
I think Thelonious is it, man. I think you should stick with Thelonious.
We're not talking about names, I thought.
Oh yeah, I forgot. We're not talking about names.
I like Theo. I just Thelonious is a bit much.
Theo, yeah, but you would call him Theo.
Yeah.
But on his government, what's your real name? Thelonious. Thelonious. That's just cool.
Where did you come up with it?
I don't know. I wanted to, because we were talking about like names, and I just wanted to go like really. I was thinking about this. I was picturing in my mind this jazzy guy with a really long beard and like this cigarette and like just like. Boom, 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 boom.
It's totally his soundtrack.
Yeah, he's got a soundtrack too. I don't want to put my phone. It'll make a weird noise. But the Diggable Planet's "Rebirth the Slick" is his soundtrack right now. Thelonious. I'm liking Thelonious.
I know you are.
I don't know, man. Thelonious Ray, TR. That's my boy, TR. Thelonious Ray. Theo, get over here, boy.
I do like Theo.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so Bronx is 22 weeks today.
Yep.
He's kicking around a lot. He's good. So I released these baby vlogs that I talk about, like just stuff, and I finally released the baby vlog about how we had a little scare with the nose bone. So nasal bone is like a thing where.
Well, so I am older
Yeah, you're 39.
I'm 39. I'll be 40 before the baby's born. And, there's a risk of Down syndrome. It increases dramatically after mom's age of 35. Pregnant mom, 35 is like I'm like considered elderly pregnant lady. There's a real term, elderly prima vagata or something. And so, I get nervous about everything because I worry a lot. And so we had the blood test early on, and that everything came back fine, which is awesome. And that's like the most important thing. But there's indicators in the ultrasound of potential problems, and
they couldn't see it.
And they couldn't see the nasal bone, which is, it's a higher risk of Down syndrome. Like they've found that babies that don't show nasal bone have a higher risk. But not having nasal bone is also higher incidence in African American and Asian children. So because we have half African American baby, that it made it a little less worrisome, but it's still worrisome. So then we had our second, well, we had to get two ultrasounds and they didn't see it again. So then we had to wait for the 20-week.
But we had to talk to we talked to
the genetic counselor.
Yeah, and she helped
calm us, or me.
Pay her?
Yeah, I paid.
To just say like, yeah, it's gonna be okay.
So then, but on our last ultrasound, the 20-week, they saw the nasal bone. So, and they also, there was other things they look at in that one, which is like the length of the arms and legs.
Everything was fine.
And stuff like that, that are in the thickness of the neck. All those indicators, everything's A-okay.
Good.
So he's cooking up good.
Bronx is the man.
And he moves a lot. That's the other feedback we've heard.
Yeah, he's very wiggly.
And I feel him now, which is really cool.
Cool.
So hopefully soon you'll be able to feel him.
I know. I wanna touch him. Be cool. So yeah, that's like kind of the update. I think we're doing a baby moon, which I never even knew what a baby moon was until where did you find out what a baby moon?
I don't know if I read it or if I have a friend that I work with that's pregnant that is a couple months ahead of me, and she went on a baby moon. I never even knew what it was. And then I read more about it. Uh-huh. It's just kind of like a one last trip for mom, dad without the baby.
Before the baby gets here.
Because everyone tells you like,
takes over life.
Get in time now while you can.
I'll tell you this, so many people like are just all like, I talked because I'm in front of people every day and people know that I'm having a kid, and then people love to tell me their stories or and I'm like, shut up.
People like, it's weird. Like you've said, like they say like, oh, I wouldn't change anything for the world. I love my kid. But
in the same breath, they tell me all these things that are just like, and then we, like, it's like, there's a lot of, they say there's, it's not very fun, but there's a lot of joy.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell that means.
I've never heard that long, but I just heard that you're going to be tired. I'm already tired all the time.
But I'm up all the time.
Yeah, I'm not. So that's great. But I'm already tired all the time. But I
need little naps.
But I think we'll be fine. I don't know. Part of me, and maybe I'm just being positive because I want to be, but like we're older, and I think we can still have our adult lives and be parents. Doesn't have to, like, we don't have to stop being who we are.
I agree.
I think the kid just enhances a family. What I'd like to believe that, and we can still have our relationship as husband and wife.
I think that's important. I think that's
but when it's all about the kid, which I think like,
a lot of people do default to that.
Totally the default. I think that's where you get kind of miserable.
Yeah.
So you have to I think we have to actively focus on maintaining
our relationship.
Us. And then I feel also like we have a lot of friends and people that will help support us, and like when we want to go on a date night, we'll be able to.
Just
and it won't be like
somebody.
And I'll need to be okay with leaving the child. I know that I have a hard time leaving my dog, and but he's really special. He's
special in a lot of ways.
He's a special needs dog, and
no, he has special needs as a dog. Not he's a special needs dog. Andrew's kind of dumb.
He's perfect, and so, but I'm probably a little unhealthily attached to my dog, so. I have to not do that with my child because it will ruin a person. It doesn't, like a dog doesn't have to grow up and move out.
Right.
But a person needs to. So I recognize
that's a huge concern of mine.
That especially having a son, that's a danger zone of like mommy's little boy.
Yeah.
For me. So Nick is going to balance that very nicely.
Yes. Got to wrangle 2 children.
But see, with Andre, he doesn't ever have to leave the house.
No.
But a kid, you have to, like, your job as a parent is to make them a successful adult in the world.
Yeah.
And go out and, like, be a good person. So I recognize that. I know that's your worry.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's kind of.
Thank you for listening.
Whoa. We don't close off
No?
yet. You know,
Okay.
all right, I guess we'll. Yeah, we can shut it down. 40 minutes. All right. Well.
Thank you for sharing a lot about your history and your
Yeah, I know. You
your
just
past.
glazed over your.
I know. Mine was like, you know, you got to
You
work
can tell
me
about
into
the
that.
Paula Abdul video we have of you doing.
There's a lot of stories.
Straight up now, tell me if you. You have that?
Look at- You were in the choir. No.
I know, but I have video of you. I could put that in. We could.
Please. Yeah, there's a lot.
We might put that in the outro. Video of you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. It's a lot of work. Yeah, anyway. So maybe at another point,
day.
we'll do a Kristy deep dive.
We can do a Kristy deep dive. I wasn't prepared for the Kristy deep dive today.
All right,
so I deflected.
All right, no worries. Yeah, thanks for listening to episode 9 of the NBeezzy. Oh, no. Sorry. Episode 10 of the NBeezzy Podcast. This is NBeezzy and Mama K signing off.
Bye.